Our ego is born from our awareness of self. Oh, here I am with another person. Here I am in a shop. Here I am by the sea. We see ourselves with, but separate from, what we're with. Be it a cup of tea or a tree, there is us and it. Without this awareness of ourselves and what we're with, we could never distinguish ourselves from what we are with. It would all be the same, and we'd never have our sense of self. Without this awareness, we would never know appreciation, value, or gratitude. We can't know the joy of friendship without the knowledge of loneliness, the pleasure of a warm sunny day without the experience of a cold, wet one. These differences and the sense of vulnerability that they bring give us our life experiences, and we celebrate them in music, the arts, and our unique style of living. When these differences cease to be a celebration and a learning, when we feel they become a challenge to our fragile self-view, then the fragile ego appears and the battle begins. Life is no longer live and let live, but win and not lose against the people or persons that offended or challenged our fragile self-view. Because the ego's survival depends upon not losing the I of who we think we are. It creates a barrier between us and life to ensure that the fragile I is not damaged by the world. It will name and shame all that it sees as wrong, good, bad, better, worse, in its attempt to separate us from life. It will evoke a sense of superiority over others to achieve this separation, and if that fails, it will make us feel inferior to others. Either way, it will maintain the distance between us and life. It will inhibit our heartfelt response to the world because that means sharing and caring, and that is not good for the ego. It will use the greatest tool at its disposal to subdue our heart, our fears. Fear of what others may think, fear of loss, and fear of the uncertainty we feel when we are our true, vulnerable self. If our fragile self-view is in danger, if we feel offended or challenged by another person or circumstances, it pushes the button on our box of insecurity, releasing the tyrant of ourselves. When it pops up, its value for other people is purely what it can get from them, and ensuring it does not lose. It will puff up in arrogance of our accomplishments and is impatient and intolerant to anything that stops it getting its way. It will hide behind barbed wire of criticism and readies the guns of anger to all who may challenge its authority or scratch the surface of its imagined perfection. When it turns on ourselves, it can be devastating, burying us in self-doubt and destroying any sense of self-worth. The ego loves us to worry about it, to worry if we're in ego or not. It keeps it alive and kicking. Better to be yourself, live what you love, and learn the consequences of who you are.